What's going on there, fellow aviators? RandomHead787 here. And welcome to Microsoft Loading Simulator. That's something I've been hearing going around a little bit. Alrighty. We got to talk about this a little bit. So, this isn't going to be what you expect. Usually, when something like this happens, I go on a what's the word? A tangent. And I just rant endlessly. I'm going to be more of in the middle here. All right. I'm looking at this with a slightly, keyword slightly, more open mind and being a little bit reasonable about this situation. Okay. So it's no secret, Flight Simulator 2024's launch so far is a complete and utter disaster. Now, for context, I have played it. Okay. As far as the simulation part of it goes, I didn't see any problems. I mean, there were some weird things going on with the mouse cursor, but I don't know. I'll report on that later on if it comes up again. But I was having some mouse issues for some reason. I don't know why. That shouldn't be a thing. I don't know how something like that becomes an issue. But the one thing that to me is unacceptable is the fact that once you load into the sim, okay? Once you load into the sim, man, I can't believe my frame rate on this camera is not up to snuff, and I got this freaking light on, it doesn't work. So, my one key takeaway from me, this is unacceptable, and this to me is just, it's kind of a middle finger to me. It just kind of feels like that. After you're done installing the sim, which took me a little over an hour, okay? Took me a little over an hour to install the whole thing. I get in, and only a few aircraft are in the sim. In order to get all of them, you have to restart the sim to get all the planes. That's from what I heard. I haven't been able to prove that because I can't get in because of the stinking queue thing. You need to actually restart the sim to load up all the planes from what I've been told. Last I checked, it's 2024. Why is this a thing? I thought this was the most complex and advanced simulator ever made. And you're telling me, okay? You're telling me I can't have all my planes the second I load up the sim. I'm sorry, that does not pass the smell test for me. It does not pass, okay? That is not acceptable. Okay? I should be able to see all my planes the second I'm done installing it. Plus, this stuff is all in the cloud. It should already be there. I shouldn't have to restart the sim just so I can get this middle finger of a logging queue. I can't even play it anyway now. See what I mean when I say it's kind of like a middle finger? Okay. That's probably the angriest I'm going to get in this, okay? So, from the time that I spent in the sim, it was good. I had a few key binding issues, or I guess control things that I had to set up in this, but I got it all figured out. It was nothing on Azobo's part. That was on me. Just trying to figure things out. But there was a part of this game that did blow my mind, though. That really impressed me, okay? There's an airport up at Sacandaga Lake, okay? A place where I grew up. There's a place called Plateau Sky Ranch. I've only been there once in my life. I was like 16, 17 years old. I don't really remember it that much, but I flew there from one of my local airports, and it's actually been dramatically updated. Like, it actually has a small airport control tower now that says Plateau Sky Ranch on it. That blew my mind and put a huge grin on my face. And I walked around, looked at some of the houses, guys. It looked so cool. So, at least from the simulator standpoint, the game seems stable. Like, I was able to load in for my first flight. It took me about 10 to 20 seconds to load in the simulator. So much faster. Now, I know some people are going to be saying, oh, I thought we were going to get shorter install times. I'm on here for several hours. I get you, but I don't think that's really the case when it's servers at this capacity. So, I think once things die down, I think we'll be able to see the full results. So, I'm not going to really hold Azobo to that quite yet. Let's wait for things to die down a little bit. Let's wait for the servers to stabilize. Then I will judge if the load times getting into the sim are improved. But so far, well, at least when it comes to I'm talking about the install time, sorry. But as far as load times go, getting into an airport, I mean, granted, I was in a, in a more rural area, so it was a lot faster, but I was still impressed nonetheless. So now what's really going on, it's a server issue. So right now, almost nobody can get in the game. Some people are playing right now, lucky bastards. No, I'm just messing with you. Good for you. Stay in. Don't quit. So yes, I'm obviously frustrated. I am, but and so is the community. If you want to know just how frustrated they are, look at this. 18% of almost 1,000 reviews are positive, overwhelmingly negative. Just look at this. Now, granted, this is all review bombing. The vast majority of this is review bombing. And I support review bombing, okay? To me, it's the voice of the people. And the voice of the people / consumer, the gamer, matters, okay? If you want to review bomb, go review bomb. But, be respectful in a way. You can be angry. That's perfectly fine. But don't, start, doing, being, being... harassful or, harassing the employees or, especially, but, I don't expect the fight sim community to be like this, but, like, people sending death threats and stuff like that. Like, guys, just, if any of you are thinking about doing that, please freaking grow up, okay? But luckily, that's a small minority of people. I just, had to say it. So here's what I'm thinking right now, okay? Here are my thoughts. I'm mixed. Because, one, I can understand that sometimes there's just things in life you can't prepare for. And this is one of those things, okay? Sometimes no matter how much you prepare, and I'm sure Asobo did really try their best to prepare for for a big launch. But sometimes, you can look at the pre-order sales, but those don't really, I think, give you the full picture. Because not everybody pre-orders. I'm one of those. I bought this the second it was available to install, and that's what I did. So that's what I think could be going on. So, because pre-order sales won't give you the full picture of the amount of people that are going to buy, because most people buy games on launch day, or at least a good chunk of people, at least almost half of the game's audience will probably buy it on launch day. I can vouch that for myself. So I understand from that point of view, but this has just become such a common thing in gaming today that, I remember a time when this wasn't a thing, or it was a lot more rare. Now, granted, our games weren't as complex back then, and I know this is the most complex simulator that they built, and I would like to believe them. So I understand some things that are going to go on. Now, I never expected a perfect launch from this, guys, okay? I never did that. I was never like, oh, I'm just going to delete 2020, move right over to 2024. I knew it was not going to be that smooth, okay? Because 2020 was also a disastrous launch. But at least, heck, you could play it. This you can't even play right now. So this is what I say to Asobo. If they can get this solved within, say, the first 24 hours and we're back on playing the next day, you know what? Fine. Whatever. I mean, yes, it sucks. I took the entire day off of work, used some of my PTO, used one day of PTO for this game. I kind of regret it, but we'll see if maybe it's working better tonight. I have some doubts about that. But here's when I am going to start really raging, okay? If this issue continues on for several days, then I'm going to be a little bit more inclined to believe that Asobo rushed this out the door, okay? I can accept a little bit, okay, the first couple of hours, a little bit rocky. It happens, okay? Sometimes, like, here's a good example, Helldivers 2, okay? It's a slightly different situation, but you know what I mean by it. Helldivers 2, which is also one of my contenders for Game of the Year, by the way. They launched, and at like a couple days later, or maybe a week later, something like that, they just had a huge influx of people because of word of mouth. And I think something kind of similar maybe happened with this. And it just exceeded their expectations of their servers. You know, I don't know how much of the servers that Asobo can afford. I know they're owned by Microsoft, but how much Microsoft assists with the servers, I don't know how much Asobo has to pay for these servers. You know, like I said, I don't know the whole situation, so I don't feel like I can get too angry about it, because it's probably a more complicated situation than a lot of us think. You know, I don't want to just go into full Bergallium rage mode right now, because I don't want to look back on it and then feel bad about it afterwards. It's okay to be angry and frustrated about this, because I am. I desperately want to play this right now. When I first did that little walk around thing, I had the biggest grin on my face. I thought it was so cool. I almost forgot to take off the static port cover, by the way. I caught that the last second after I started the engine. So, yeah, so I understand the frustrations with a lot of flight simmers right now, but I'd say for right now, I'm not usually like this, but let's try to just be a little bit more patient, and let's just see what happens within the next couple of hours as I record this video. If this goes on for several days, then I think a little more anger will be justified. But like I said, for the people review bombing, I'm not gonna tell you not to review bomb, because you should express your voice. You know, I think we should be demanding better. We shouldn't have to have launches this bad. We really shouldn't. But like I said, I don't want to just lean toward that opinion only, because I understand it can be a little bit more complex. You know, sometimes there's things you just can't prepare for, and these servers cost a lot of money, and who knows how much of it Asobo can afford. I don't know how much money they got in the bank. I don't know how much Microsoft can lend to them. I don't know how much support they can give them. But I hope we can get to a day in the gaming industry when stuff like this can just be a thing of the past. You know, I don't know what it's going to take. You know, I'm getting frustrated with these busted launches. You know, but like I said, I'm trying to be a little bit more reasonable and open with this one. But if this goes on for several days, then I'm really going to start getting angry, and that's when you might start seeing rant videos. But right now, I wanted to just be a little bit more level-headed about this. So, anyway, I'm going to end right there. Otherwise, I'm going to ramble on like I always do. I want to know from you guys in the comments, have any of you had any luck playing the simulator? And if you have, how is it running for you? I want to know everything. Frame rate, performance, stutters, load times. Just give me all the details that you possibly can. And for those of you that are maybe having any troubles with the sim, any bugs, anything, just tell me everything. Everything. Even your opinion on this. You know, I like to hear a ton of opinions regarding this. I know some people are probably going to be thinking that, you know, I'm taking like maybe the cowardly way out with this, and, you know, not standing up demanding better. No, I am demanding better, but I understand also that these situations can be complex. But I would really like to get to a point where this really doesn't happen anymore. Or if it does, it doesn't last quite as long. You know, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but I am demanding better, but I understand that sometimes situations out of our control and the developer's control happen. I understand that. Hopefully this gets resolved soon, and we can put this kind of in the past and just start on keeping on flying, because I'm sure once the servers are under control, we should be okay by then. So anyways, guys, your thoughts. If you played the sim, I want to know everything in those comments. Let me know. And I will hopefully catch you all in the next video soon. I'll hopefully be streaming this game again when it is back up and running. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out and happy flying.